Scott from Indigo Acres Farms. Today we're going to do two modifications to the SVL 75-3. First mod is going to be window struts. Anybody who owns a 75-3 knows that Kubota put the wrong struts in there, and we'll show you what we mean. From the inside you can latch it shut. So that's the window shut. And then when you open it, you cannot lock it up with the automatic lock. You have to use this manual lock here, which is kind of a pain. So when you open the window or the door, that's where it sits. So we're going to replace the strut right here on the side with a more powerful one. Let's see if we can see the part number on there. Get that up for you. The difference in the part number is this is a 750N and the ones on the machine are 500s. So standard clip here on the top and bottom. We'll get inside, decompress the strut, take those off and put the new ones. Should be pretty quick. Let me get to work. All right, we got the struts changed. Let's check it out. So if you remember before, the door would hang about right here. We're going to close the door and open it up. And it goes all the way into the up position, no need to lock. 5-minute job putting in the new struts. And now let's move on to our next project. All right, our next project is going to be adding the ride control kit to the 75-3. This kit was not available at the time of purchase. This is an add-on, about 800 bucks from Messick's. What the ride control does is allow the bucket to float up and down on rough terrain, basically like shock absorbers, giving you a smooth ride. So we're going to start off with that installation. First thing that has to be done is we got to lift the cab up. So we'll be removing that bolt, and then we'll lift the cab up. All right, let's get going. Take everything out of the cab that could fall down. So I had some tools, a wrench and stuff in there, but took that out. Water bottle. Close the door. do that, that lock right there, that'll fall into place and that holds everything up for you. There's the guts of the machine. The next step is to drain the hydraulic fluid. This is the hydraulic fluid drain. There's a small, you can see that square. We're going to open that up. We're going to drain the hydraulic fluid into the bucket. And then we're going to take the negative terminal off of the battery. So let's get started with that. All right. You can see, the hose coming out of the bottom of the machine. We'll get a bucket there and we'll start draining that. And then get in here with a 10mm. And we'll disconnect that battery terminal on the negative side. All right, let's see if we can do this without blowing anything up. All right, we got the battery disconnected. We'll start draining the oil and then we'll get back up front and start the process. All right, we got the hydraulic oil draining. We'll let that drain. We're back to the front. All right, the first thing we have to do is remove this, and this hydraulic hose. So let's see if we can do that. That one came out nice and easy. And I did take a picture of this so I wouldn't mess it up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a rag to put under there in case any fluid drips out of there. Try to keep it neat and clean. Alright, that under there. Take that hose off there. Yep, there's some fluid. Get this next one off. I'm using a big crescent wrench because I did not bring my big set of open end wrenches, so that's my fault. Alright. Get that off here. That's up there. Wrap a rag around these two. Keep them up there. Get this one off. And then we're going to take this joint out of here. Put it back at the same angle as the one in there. Alright. Get that up. Try to keep that hose up. Alright, now we're going to take this joint out. Let me get the right tool. This is the perfect spot for the Nipix pliers here. Not really open end, but easy spot to get to, of course. course it doesn't want to go. Let's see. Bigger. Nope, too big. There we go. Got it. Remove this, and we'll replace it with a new one. Catch that fluid. This is the same joint, except it has an additional fitting for the ride control. This way, right there. It's going to angle like that. Going to tighten that on that angle. Get the pressure wrench on here. Hold the block. These Nippics are nice because they're thin and you get them behind there like that. All right, we'll put these hoses back on. They got little covers on here. Cover off. All right, that's on. That on. That hand tight there. Get that hand tight. Take this off of here. Put this hose back on here. I think this kit's gonna really, I think it's really gonna, I think this kit's really gonna increase the, or improve the ride, I should say. That one's tight. The other two are still loose. I'm going to leave that there for now. I'm going to pull the protective coat off of here. Alright, that part of the job is done. Alright, let's see what the next step is. Alright, so now we've got the ride control valve here. That's all assembled. We're going to go ahead and we're going to mount it up right here on this block where those two bolts are. extension on that. All right, we got that mounted up. And I kind of read ahead, and they tell you that this is the plug for the control valve. Took that tape off there. Right there. That's going to come. It only fits one way in there, I believe. No. Oh, it's got a dummy plug in it. There we go. Didn't see the dummy plug. All right. That's plugged in. Slide the boot over. That's tight. All right, we got that done. Let's keep going. All right, now we have to mount the accumulator. So we gotta climb in here with the accumulator. It's kind of buried in the back here, 215 millimeters. Of course, I can't get the impact in there. That would be too easy. That's one. There's two. Alright. Alright, let's take these bolts out. These are the new bolts. Those fit. Slide this in here. Got a mark on there. And let's double check the orientation. That is the correct orientation. Alright. Got it marked. Get that right there. We'll get our bolt started there. Bolt started there. Flashlight in there so I can see my mark. There it is right there. All right. There's a hose in the way. Nothing's easy. Alright. Got that tight. You can see, let's see if I can get a shot in there. See the accumulator comes out to the hose right there. It's just going to go right over here to this control valve. All right, let's check out the components we got so far. You've got the accumulator with that bracket right there. That hose comes out, goes to the control valve, which we installed, the new joint, and that's all done. So we're all tight there. We got it all done. Now we need to add the hydraulic fluid back, hook the battery back, and then get into the programming on the computer to activate the ride control. All right, we got the battery hooked back up. We've got the hydraulic fluid back to a good level. You can see it right there in the sight glass. Hose back. We installed the plate, and now we're ready to lower the cab and get into the settings to get the ride control tied into the computer. Okay, we've entered the dealer mode by pressing the start and the jog key. So now we're going to select English. We're going to select settings. We're going to go to machine settings right there. SVL 75.3, that's us. United States. And let's see, we're going to go now to camera setting. That's fine there. Radio setting, that's fine there. High flow setting, that's fine there. Reverse fan, that's fine there. Ride control, there it is. We're going to turn it on. I'm going to select that. Beacon is fine. That's fine. Machine setting is complete. Alright, I'm going to turn, go back. I'm going to turn off the machine. I'm going to turn it back on. Go ahead and start it. Alright, that's gone away. I'm going to unlock the hydraulics. So everything's working. And I'm going to push the button, and there's ride control. You can see it lit up right there. It is now the function. Grab the camera. So this switch right here. It's off, it's on. You can see it on and off. So that's it. Successful installation. We'll put the mulcher on it, and then we'll go give it a little test ride. So what exactly is ride control? Well, as you watch this video and we drive down this rough road, you'll see the forestry mulcher out front, which weighs about 1,900 pounds. It's moving up and down. Normally, without ride control, the whole skid steer would rock back and forth as we go over these bumps. But what the ride control does is we transfer all that rocking motion to the accumulator, and it just lets that load float up and down, giving us a smooth ride. So whether it's a forestry mulcher, a scoop of dirt, or a pallet of bricks, When you're driving over long distances over rough roads, this really improves the ride. I highly recommend this upgrade. It's about 800 bucks and takes about 3 hours. If you got any questions or comments about it, just throw it below. Our next video is going to be about our Woodland Mills 810 Pro PTO chipper. It's really a beast. It's a great machine. Tune in and check that out. Thanks for watching Indigo Acres, and we'll see you next time.